Hey, it's Mike Slater, host of the podcast Politics by Faith, filling in for the great Bill O'Reilly. It is Thursday, December 22nd, 2022, 12/22/22. You're listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening across our nation. America's mental health falls to an all-time low. 1 in 5 young adults owe money to debt collectors. Anti-Semitism on the rise in New York City. And Amazon reveals the most popular presents this Christmas. Also coming up, the message of the day, Christmas themed, of course. But first, a survey from Gallup finds a quarter of Americans visited a mental health professional in 2022. That is a 10-point increase in the last 10 years. Less than half of Americans describe their mental health as good. Less than half. 7% say they suffer from severe psychological problems. This is self-described, self-diagnosed. Younger adults and women, who are more likely than their counterparts to rate their own mental health negatively, are also more likely to say that they have sought mental health care in the last year. Roughly 20% of adults between the ages 18 and 24 with a credit record in the United States currently have debt in collections. Overall, credit card balances are surging, up 15% in the most recent quarter. That's the largest annual jump in more than 20 years. So when people say the economy's bad and people aren't working, oh, but look, people are still buying stuff. It's like, yeah, that on credit card, people are all-time debt. Credit card rates are now over 19% on average. That's an all-time high and still rising as well. Anti-Semitic hate crimes in New York City more than doubling compared to the same period last year. At least 45 Jewish people were targeted across the 5 boroughs compared to 20 last December, just a month. Most assaults occurred in Brooklyn. The New York Police Department beefing up security at local synagogues after 2 men were arrested at Penn Station with pistols and maps of local Jewish communities. Amazon revealing the most popular Christmas gifts for 2022. They are wireless phone chargers, which still seem like magic to me. Like, how is that possible? Portable hand warmers, indoor slippers, waffle makers, wine glasses, the air fryer, luxury towels, and number 1 most popular gift for Christmas this year, noise-canceling headphones. The typical family spends $3,000 on gifts for friends and family. Coming up next, I get the Christmas story, but why is it that story? I'll explain next.
Inflation at its highest level in 40 years and interest rates are skyrocketing, as you know. Market experts like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, predicting recession. So to protect your future, do what I did. Call the only precious metal dealers I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. You can get started with a short phone call. They will place physical gold and silver right at your door or inside your IRA or 401k. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Please tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Don't wait. You can call them now. 877-444-GOLD. 877-444-GOLD. Or text GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater, host of the podcast Politics by Faith, filling in for the great Bill O'Reilly. Now it's time for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. Merry Christmas. Christmas coming up in a few days. I've always wondered why God had to do the whole Jesus born as a human thing. He could have done it any way he wanted. Why did he choose this way? And like, once you accept the story, you're like, okay, that's great, but why? Why did he have to become human? It's the biggest question I always had before I was a Christian. Why did God work it out this way? Why did Jesus have to become a human? Paul Harvey, of all people, answered it for me. He tells a story of a good, decent, generous man. He just didn't believe all the silly Bible, miracle, incarnation stuff. So he didn't go to church on Christmas with his family, his wife and his children. They went off. He stayed home behind. And there's a big storm that came. And a bird flew right into his window. Dung! Oh, what a shame. And then another one, dunk, again. And just dunk, 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 more birds just kept slamming into what's going on. So he goes outside in the snow, and the birds are all huddled there underneath the window. They're lost and clueless. But he's a generous man. So he bundled up, and he walked to the other side of his property and opened up the barn door. He gave him a nice warm place for the birds to be. Turned the light on for him. But the birds didn't go anywhere. So he's telling the birds, like he's waving his arms, like, go, come here, come to the barn. And he tries to shoo them away, but they won't budge. So then he gets breadcrumbs and he tries to lure the birds to the barn, but they refuse. They're scared of him. They fear him. And he got frustrated and he thought, if only I could be a bird and speak their language and mingle with them and be with them and tell them not to be afraid and show them the way to safety and to the warm barn. If only I could show them the light. If only I could be one of them so that they could see and hear and understand. That's what Jesus did. He became one of us so we could follow him and God to heaven. The infinite has become the infant. As C.S. Lewis said, the Son of God became a man to enable men to become the sons of God. I was a history major in college, been a Christian for about 8 years now, so I like to put these two passions together. My instinct is to bring everything back to the Bible. Why? Jeremiah 6:16, stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths. Ask where the good way is and walk in it, and you will find rest for your souls. Our culture's so screwed up right now, and no one knows what to do. Progressives say we need to progress. We need more progress. We need more of what we're doing, more of this direction. And I'm over here, and I think you're with me saying, this ain't working. Let's look for the ancient paths. Why? Why the ancient paths? Because you will find rest for your souls. No one ever talks about the soul. You know, in California, they're thinking about, they will eventually legalize psychedelic drugs. So magic mushrooms, because people have anxiety and depression. So let's just trip them out. Let's do things to change the chemistry of their mind. But no one ever mentions the soul. We talk about the mind, never the soul. So let's just take psychedelic mushrooms. Jeez. I want to look back at the ancient paths, the things that worked. And I want to get to the root of problems, and that is the human soul. You want answers? It's a book about it. It's got everything in it, including a really amazing story that we celebrate on Christmas. More coming up.
There is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers, rewrite American history, and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. The very freedoms secured by our Constitution are now being threatened by the most liberal leftists our nation has ever seen. But there are plenty of patriots with the courage to stand up to the far left. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in the USA. I am a member, and I hope you will join as well. AMAC members have access to money-saving benefits, a robust website and mobile app, and a magazine filled with all kinds of great content. So please join AMAC today at amac.us and tell them O'Reilly sent you. That's amac.us.
Hey, it's Mike Slater, host of the podcast Politics by Faith, filling in for the great Bill O'Reilly. Now it's time for something you might not know. Perhaps you've heard the song before. It is Well With My Soul. Do you know who wrote it? Or really why he wrote it? I went to a funeral a couple weeks ago. A friend of mine's dad passed away at 64 years old. He had 4 wonderful children, and they opened up the funeral with a stunningly beautiful version of that song, It Is Well With My Soul. So my new goal in life is to live in a way where when I die, my family and friends can gather in a place and sing with their full heart and with complete assurance, it is well with my soul. That moment was such beautiful evidence of a life well lived. When peace like a river attendeth my way, so when things are good. When sorrows like sea billows roll, when things are not good. Whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, It is well with my soul. The author of those words was Horatio Spafford. Now, maybe you'd think he wrote this song because life was awesome all the time. Well, there were great moments. And then the worst. He had a wife and 5 kids. Their youngest son died of pneumonia in 1871. He lost his business in the Great Fire of Chicago that same year. 2 years later, his wife and 4 daughters got on a boat from the U.S. to France. And he was planning to go with them, but he had to stay behind for some business things. He said, you go ahead, I'll get on the next boat a couple days later. 4 days later, that boat collided with another in the middle of the ocean, and all 4 of his daughters drowned. His wife survived. She was rescued and made it to Wales, and when she got there, she wired her husband, "Saved alone, what shall I do?" Could you imagine receiving that message? What do I do? He got on the next boat, and when they were 4 days in the ocean, the captain called him and said, "This is about where your children died." And that's what inspired him to write the song, "It is well with my soul." You know, we don't talk about the soul anymore. We're only interested in behavior modification or life hacks. Even with behavior modification, we just want shortcuts. If you want to change a life, and you want to change the course of a country, we got to focus on the soul. And if Horatio could do it, so can we. More coming up.
By now, you may have received a record high heating bill. Prices of heating your home will only go up from here. If you are looking for ways to save money this winter, now you can with the Eden Pure Gen 40 heater. Now, I've got my Gen 40 and I move it around the house, and it's made a big difference keeping my rooms warm. This infrared heater guaranteed to start saving you money on your heating bill as soon as you turn it on. Plus, Gen 40 heater owners are reporting massive savings on heating bills, and it is super safe around pets and kids with their multiple safety features. It is no surprise that they are having a hard time keeping the Gen 40 in stock. So don't wait. Right now, you can get $50 off the sale price. Use discount code BILL50. Please go to EdenPureDeals.com. Put in discount code BILL50 to get your $50 off. That's EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code BILL50 for the discount. Shipping is free.
Thank you, Bill, for letting me fill in. Thank you for listening. My podcast is Politics by Faith. We'll see you there, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.